we've done a lot of work. And so we want to save this time for the students. They will introduce themselves. Thank you so much. They are the stars of this.
Greetings, everyone, and I am Annie from LaGuardia Community College, and my partner is Rania from Jordan University. We will be presenting the water project, source quality, usage, and access. Our classes in Jordan and New York, we were divided into 4 groups, and we each work on a part of the whole project. Group A focused on the quality of water in terms of portability, fit for human consumption, and presence of contaminants. So in New York, the 2 water sources are surface water and groundwater. These 2 sources are used for everyday purpose, such as cooking, hygiene, drinking water, doing dishes, etc. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, 91% of the supply water is from groundwater. Surface water comes from rivers, reservoirs, lakes, and oceans. An important fact to know also is that the Department of Environmental Protection conducts between 500,000 and 600,000 health and quality tests on New York's water every year.
The Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan lies in eastern part of the Middle East. Now, Jordan have 2 water resources, are surface water and groundwater. It's also a semi-arid environment. Although the rank 5th among nations facing the greatest water stress, the water equality meets the WHO guidelines. And the water quality in Jordan meets the WHO guidelines and recommendations.
Okay.
In New York, public drinking water system use different water treatment methods to provide safe drinking water for their communities. As you can see in the graphic, there are a few steps that are used to achieve this, which are coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, and disinfectation. But not everything has been good when it comes to water quality. During April 2014 to June 2016, Flint, Michigan suffered a health crisis that involved their water supply being contaminated with a high level of lead. Flint, Michigan during this time was suffering economically. Therefore, they decided to make some cost savings measure that ended up affecting the quality of the water.
People in Jordan have to store water in tanks, which is make it more vulnerable to contaminations. So, a lot of studies in many areas in Jordan show that the Wadi Mujib reservoir water is considered to be very hard water because it has a high concentration of hard metal, like calcite and sodium and chloride. Also, in Rejim aquifer, it has a high concentration of nitrate. The nitrate concentration here, it exceeded more than 20 milligrams per liter. At the end, this project impact on our mind to believe that when we share information, exchange thoughts, and work in team, all of this will build up experience of new knowledge. This knowledge which bring its own maturity and greater vision. Thank you.
Hello all, this is Yasmin Baniali. Me and my colleague Kirthan are going to represent Group B from Jordan University of Science and Technology and LaGuardia Community College. Next, please. So our role in the project was to test water quality. The method used to test water quality was test strips, which is a chemically treated strips used and can serve as an initial screening tool to test water quality. As I mentioned previously, we have two sites: Jordan University of Science and Technology and LaGuardia Community College. We used two different kits. Test assured test was used by Just University student, and verified test used by LaGuardia Community College. Number of tested sample was 5 in Jordan and was 15 in LaGuardia Community. Type of water tested was mainly tap water. As I mentioned, we have two different kits, so we have some tests in common, such as pH and hardness, and we have additional tests such not common between the two tests or kit, such as pesticide in test assured kit and sulfate in verified test kit. Next, please. For the result, all result was within the normal range except lead, nitrite, and hardness. For lead, 100% free water sample in Jordan compared with varying amount of lead present in New York City water. For nitrite, 21 sample in both sides showed above allowed limit. For hardness, in both sides there was hard water, but the hardness was higher in Jordan. So what do all that mean? What is the health impact for them? Hardness, there is a conflicting data about them. Calcium and magnesium are natural dietary minerals. However, some studies have shown increased risk of heart disease and high blood pressure with hard water. For nitrite, with nitrite level, high nitrite level may indicate contamination with nitrogen containing waste product such as sewage. The major health concern is methemoglobinemia. For lead, which is found in varying amount in New York City, the pipes used in there is a possibility that the pipes used in older building may have been created with lead piping. Over time, these pipes may corrode. The major health concern with them is anemia, weakness, kidney, and brain damage. Thanks. I will let you with my colleague Kirthan.
Thank you, Yasmin. Hello all. So the strengths and weaknesses within our project show some inconsistencies, such as here in LaGuardia, we use 2 test strips per sample to confirm our results, and using distilled water as a control sample within our testing. The weaknesses on our results were the tests are not as reliable as expensive lab tests that we did not have access to between Just University and CUNY. The water in the water may include contaminants that are not tested by these kits. These tests are very limited based on their testing. And the amount of testing kits that were available to both Just and LaGuardia, we did just not have enough tests. And the differences in our tests, it was a major weakness due to the unavailability of the same tests on Amazon. Next slide.
I just want to add that when we planned the project, we identified a common test kit, we got the funding to buy it, and then suddenly when it came to buy it, Amazon declared it unavailable. So that's why we had 2 waiting tests.
Correct. Based on our tests and our results, we have a couple of recommendations for the lead in the water results. We recommend to have water pipes changed to safe units such as copper or PEX, also known as cross-links polyethylene, instead of lead pipes, which older buildings typically use. Using bottled water for drinking and cooking, and limiting well water usage to bathing and only showering. When it comes to testing your lab, testing the lab water, choosing a more comprehensive test allows us for deeper and further investigation, and study the ability to modify water content of minerals suitable by available technologies before distribution to the public. Further investigate the sources and expand tested sources. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dalia. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dalia Shakhakre. I'm a student at Jordan University of Science and Technology. And today, me and Paul are going to be talking about how we developed our home water audit survey and what kind of data we got from it. First, we conducted our survey after viewing many surveys online and tailoring ours with the best suited questions for both groups to assess water usage among college students in Jordan and in New York City. We selected questions based on common grounds between both Jordan and New York. So we had questions about water usage at home and mostly concentrated on daily activities like showering or brushing your teeth or shaving. At the end of our survey, we asked about the willingness, if the students were willing to change certain habits after seeing after answering our questions, which were applying the purpose of the home water audit survey, which was to increase awareness and try to identify ways to cut back on water usage. And after we distributed to both classes and we got similarities and differences based on our survey. Next slide, please. The similarities, I'm going to be talking about the similarities first. So we had the majority were washing their dishes by hand and running water while doing so, which was water wasting. And we had the minority that was using a dishwasher, but waiting until it was fully loaded to operate it. And we had another similarity, which was during the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a moderate to significant increase in water usage. So we asked about the reason for this, and the most common answer was that people were cleaning and washing more often to prevent getting COVID-19. We also asked about the aerator, which is a device that is put within the faucets. So it mixes air with water, so reduces water flow and reduces water usage, but 36% of our respondents didn't know what it was. And now Paul is going to be talking about the differences that we got from our survey. Thank you.
Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Paul. So we'll be talking about the differences. So approximately 70% of the surveyants that took the survey shower over 10 minutes or longer. This is based on 20 students from Jordan, 20 students from LaGuardia. The US average here is about 8 minutes. So we are doing way over that based on the survey. About almost 50% are in the 10 to 20 minute range. And in hot temperatures during summer and spring, we have a higher average of New York City students, roughly around 1.5 times of that of the Jordan students. That's a lot of water being wasted. Sometimes people would, take their time, and, some would sing in the shower, play music. That takes up a lot of time in the shower and wastes a lot of water. As you can see, a 15-minute shower will cost you nearly 120 gallons of water. That is a lot of water that we can be using for other uses. Next slide, please. So at the end of our survey, we asked these questions. So there's a lot of people currently practicing. What you can see in the orange, it's skyrocketed because a lot of people are already turning off water to shave. That's a natural instinct that people are doing. Checking toilet for leaks, not a lot of people do that. And then everything else, as you can see, use sprinklers, use bucket, that's very low. But based on what they learned during our survey, to the right, you can see that a lot of people are willing to give this a try to help save up as much as water. And for you to save up water, here's some tips on the right side. You can use a bowl of water instead of running water, to use water for gardening and etc. And before I put you guys on to the next group, here's a fun tip. You can go to the local supermarket, pharmacy, get yourself some food coloring, and take some food coloring drops, drop it in your water in the toilet. And that way you can check to see if you guys have any leaks, because water is clear, it's hard to see without any food coloring. So I just wanted to let you guys know. Thank you very much, and on to the next group.
So Paul, just to clarify, you meant to put the food coloring drops into the storage tank of the flush, right?
Correct, yes.
And so if you see the color running into the toilet bowl, then you know there's a leak.
Correct, yes.
Thank you, Paul.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Bia. I am the team leader of Group D from LaGuardia Community College. I worked along with Arwa, team leader of the Jordan Institute. And together, Group D, conveyed an anonymous survey of 26 questions that included the community perspective in water access, water contamination, and water inequality. We gathered 86 responses from the Jordan community and 53 from the New York community. We will compare and contrast the results and share some of the data collected. So it was important to know the social demographics of our survey takers. We were able to come to the conclusion that most of our survey takers were females among the ages from 18 to 39 years. The majority were middle class with a level of education of high school or less in New York, and most respondents lived in households of 2 to 4 in urban areas in New York. Compared to Jordan, where the majority of respondents were females, adults among the ages from 18 to 39 years, middle class with a bachelor degree, most of the respondents, and they also lived in a household of 5+ members and in urban areas from the Jordan community. We also included questions regarding the water access, and one of the questions that we asked is how many times a week do they get water delivered to their households? In the Jordan community, we found that once to twice a week, most of the respondents get water delivered to their house, with a minimum of 13.5% that get more than 3 times a week water delivered to the house. Compared to New York, where most of our voters get water once to twice a week with a 41.5%, following with 30.2% our voters don't get water delivered to their house, and then 28.3% of voters get water more than 3 times a week. The next question that we asked was, what do they spend most of their water on? Which activities? On the Jordan side, we found that most voters spend their water on household chores, including cooking, washing dishes, laundry, etc., following by 27% with personal hygiene. In the New York side, percent that use water on household chores like cooking, laundry, and washing dishes. Now, regarding the satisfaction on water access, more respondents from the New York City community were satisfied, while in Jordan, responses were evenly distributed between satisfied and dissatisfied. The respondents for both communities believe their water bills have increased over the past 5 years.
Thank you, Bia. I'll just continue what you have started. The third aspect of our survey was about water contamination. We assessed this aspect by asking, what type of water do you rely on the most for drinking? The majority of Jordan responses were filtered water, while the New York ones were bottled water, as we can see here in the bar graph. Despite that difference, both communities think that filtered water is the safest among the 3 types. Another 2 questions asked about that safety or the level of satisfaction with water, and the results showed that most respondents in Jordan are not satisfied with the quality and safety of water, And when it comes to the major potential pollutant from their perspective, it was industrial waste, while it's actually the agricultural waste. On the other hand, people from New York are satisfied regarding the quality and safety of water in their area. The last two questions in this section asked about their current behaviors and suggestions on how to reuse water. Unfortunately, both communities are not reusing water currently, as we can see. So we hope our survey may emphasize this matter. Next, please. The final aspect of our survey was about water inequality, and here we can see some kind of contradictory between the responses in the two communities. When they were asked if they consider water inequality as a major problem, most people from Jordan answered yes, while people from New York their answers was between yes, no, and I don't know. However, both communities think and believe that we should put more effort on finding a solution for this problem, as they consider it as an important problem worldwide, and they think it affects the rural areas mostly. Thank you, everyone.